This is how you smell tropical, sexy, and clean without even trying. What's good, guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunter. Hope you're all doing good. Today we are reviewing Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau, guys, which this is a fragrance I've been wanting in the collection for quite some time and to finally review it because, of course, Le Beau has gotten so much hype, whether it's the original like I have in hand today or the Le Parfum, of course. Pretty much at this point, everybody knows about Le Beau when it comes to fragrances, guys. And I gotta say, for a coconut heavy fragrance, this one is pretty solid. And I can see why this fragrance has gotten so much hype into the community, guys. Plus, there's even been dupes of Le Beau when it comes to it as well. So are you guys a fan of Le Beau when it comes to the scent profile? Let me know down below before we go ahead and get into the review. Now, I do want to actually shout out FragranceNet for sending Le Beau over for review. Of course, though, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. It's as simple as that, guys. Plus, FragranceNet, of course, is one of the best discounters in the entire world. I've been shopping with them for over 5 years now. If you don't already know about FragranceNet, now you know, and go save some money. Now, let's run down some information. So Le Beau, the original, was launched back in 2019. So it has been around for a few years now at the time of this recording. And for the retail price, on the two sides this one comes, and you get the 75 ml for $106, or the big boy, the 125 ml, which I have in hand for $132. Now, that's at retail if you go into like a Macy's, Dillard's, Sephora, etc., and go purchase a bottle in person. However, though, on FragranceNet, it's gonna be far, far cheaper. And you already know, I'll leave a tag on this video, the best price you'll be able to get Le Beau for. For the concentration, this one is actually an eau de toilette, so you're probably getting sub 20% oils, which of course is not that high. They do have a Le Parfum, which is a parfum concentration, which maybe I'll review sometime down the line. Now, for the perfumers, there's actually two master perfumers that made the original Le Beau. The first is Quentin Bish himself, guys, which we probably all know if you've been in the fragrance game for any time now. Plus, Sonia Constant, guys. They are two master noses with a huge resume between the both of them, came out and made this. I mean, both of those perfumers have made some of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. Now, with all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with Le Beau now. So take a look at the iconic Jean Paul Gaultier tin packaging, guys. Of course, you got Le Beau, this beautiful kind of greenish blue color scheme going around the tin. On the bottom, you got your barcode and batch code to authenticate product and see when it was actually produced. Mine actually is a 75 ml, not 125 ml, which I was surprised because the bottle is pretty big for 75 ml. Nothing on the back, nothing up top. You kind of unscrew the bottom of this to open it up. Do not use a tin can opener like some people have to open the packaging, guys, believe me. Now, take a look at this bottle, guys, which is very kind of edgy, unique, etc. Of course, in a man's body, you do have this kind of seashell down here by his private parts. On the bottom, you got etched in all your information and batch code. Nothing on the back besides his butt. Nothing on top of the atomizer. My atomizer collar thing actually broke off, so I can't put it back in. It comes with like a pin so it doesn't spray, but still, very cool looking bottle presentation. Either you love it or you don't. Plus, that juice color is awesome. In the top, you got to find bergamot. In the mid, you got that coconut. And to the base, you got tonka bean, and this is classified as a sweet fresh. And obviously, that note breakdown is very, very linear. Not much going on. So let's spray this. Test out these atomizers. Not the best atomizer per usual with Jean Paul Gaultier, but hey, at the end of the day, that's not the biggest deal. So let's remind myself of Le Beau, and of course, I'm gonna let you guys do the first nip. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I enjoyed Le Beau much more than I thought I actually would when it comes to the scent profile, guys. Because right away, it's gonna open up with the bergamot. Now, the bergamot in the opening is this very sweet, kind of a tart bergamot. It's not that citrusy or fresh, guys. It's very, very sweet bergamot, which is kind of different. And it's kind of unusual to have a sweet tropical fragrance like this one, but I think it works perfectly. Yeah, the bergamot in the opening brings out this more of a fruity sweetness rather than like a citrusy kind of fresh bergamot, guys, which I actually think it works better than a citrusy bergamot that they usually use in the opening because it works perfectly with the whole thing they're going for with Le Beau. It's gonna be a sweet, sexy, tropical fragrance. And to be honest with you, there's not much to talk about in the opening of Le Beau because to be fair, there's not much going on. Once this one starts transitioning in to the mid is where you're gonna find that tropical coconut. Now, it's not gonna be your typical suntan lotion, kind of cheap smelling coconut at all, guys. It's more of a tropical, sweet, fruity coconut on the kind of vanilla-like warm side of things. So if you're not a fan of suntan lotion coconut fragrances, you're gonna love this one because it's almost the exact opposite. A very, very sexy, seductive take on coconut and bergamot, guys, that I've never smelled anything quite like it. And I believe that's why this one is getting so much hype and pretty much took over. Yeah, just a very kind of warm, comforting, cozy coconut vibe with Le Beau. That may be a little bit watery in the background, which makes it good for being a tropical fragrance, but still, guys, very, very sweet. And then finally, once you make your way into the base, which does come pretty quickly, you are gonna get the tonka beans in the dry down. Now, the tonka beans is this very warm, gourmand, slightly powdery take on tonka beans as well, which I think works great as a grounded note and just brings out more of the warmth from the entire composition from the top, mid, and base. And it seems like all these fragrances I've been reviewing lately has tonka bean in the dry down, which, hey, tonka bean works and it works good at that, so I can see why. I gotta give credit to Jean Paul Gaultier for making a summery tropical fragrance, but done in a very unusual, sexy, seductive way, because that's exactly what Le Beau is. I know, of course, the Le Parfum has a ton more personality, a ton more character, and just a lot more going on compared to the EDT, but man, at the end of the day, simplicity is not always a bad thing, guys. And that proves it right here with the OG Le Beau. Now, when it comes to the seasons to wear Le Beau, me primarily, I'm gonna rock it in the spring and summer primarily, guys. I'm not really gonna pull it out for like the fall and winter, even though you kind of could, because it's a tropical, sweet, kind of gourmand type of fragrance. But still, for spring and summer, this has got to be one of the sexiest options you can possibly go for, because when you think of tropical, summery fragrances, they're not always sexy and seductive. However, this one is exactly that. And it's got to be one of the sexiest summer targeted fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. Because of course, when you think of warm, sweet fragrances, you do not think summertime. However, though, Jean Paul Gaultier made it work and combined the two for a sweet summer fragrance, and it works perfectly at that, guys. Now, for occasion, this one does give me casual vibes rather than formal. Not something I would really personally want to dress up and be like confident, come across very classy and sophisticated. However, though, for a casual, summery kind of fragrance, this one is gonna be excellent, guys, for going like on dates on the beach, maybe dates in the evening time when it's still very hot outside, going to like parties, clubbing during the summertime as well. This is gonna be perfect. And just kind of like going about your day, maybe while you're on vacation, you want a sexy summery fragrance, is perfect for that as well. Just not really a good office kind of job, a meeting, wedding type of fragrance, if you know what I mean. But still, one of the sexiest casual summer fragrances on the market easily. And when it comes to gender as well, it still is a masculine scent profile to my nose. Not one thing feminine about this whatsoever. Of course, it's targeted towards men. Take a look at the bottle as well, guys, and it definitely fits that as well. Very, very masculine scent DNA. I mean, to me, it kind of smells like a dude that is somewhat of a player, maybe a lover boy as well, and gets a ton of girls, and possibly always traveling around the world. Things like that is who I imagine rocking this the best. And when it comes to age groups, very much on the youthful side rather than mature. I picture somebody like 35 and under rocking Le Beau the absolute best. In my head is what I kind of picture. Some dude that's in his late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, maybe early 30s, etc. is rocking Le Beau the absolute best. Doesn't really give me like 40s and up type of vibe. There's nothing mature about this fragrance at all. Unless you are a little bit older and you still want to come across young and smell good, then obviously go for it. But of course, when it comes to Jean Paul Gaultier, you think of Le Male as a mature kind of dated fragrance. You think of Le Beau as a more modern, youthful fragrance, and that's exactly how it is. Because I know the younger audience absolutely go crazy for Le Beau, and pretty much the audience who has hyped this one up to the max. And man, I'm definitely happy to finally have a bottle in the collection, despite we're going into like the winter time now. Definitely gonna put this one aside until the spring comes, and definitely the summer. Because anytime I want to give off that sexy vibe, but during the summertime, I'm reaching for this. Now, wrapping the review out, talking on the performance you're gonna get from the original Le Beau. Now, this is of course an eau de toilette, so you're not really gonna expect this one to be a beast, which definitely is not the case. Because from my testing, the last couple times I've worn it, tested it, etc., I got around 6 hours of longevity on skin. And to be fair, 6 hours is even kind of pushing it, guys. This is not a very, very strong fragrance at all. It's not gonna last all day, like 10, 12 hours by any means. If you wanna get that, maybe possibly check out the Le Parfum. It might perform better. Haven't tested it, so I can't tell you, but I would imagine. But still, for 6 hours for the kind of occasion you're gonna be rocking this one in, I think is still kind of reasonable, especially while even being an EDT concentration. I mean, spray this one on before hitting the club, spray this one on before going on a date, spray this one on if you're on vacation, maybe going out to the beach, going to a dinner, etc., and you're gonna be good still, even with that 6 hours of longevity. And when it comes to the projection, it's also about moderate average projection from Le Beau. I thought this might perform a little bit better as far as the projection goes because it is an EDT, which usually push off the skin further for the first couple of hours. However, though, it still has this kind of smooth, non-sharp and piercing scent profile to it, which means it does push off the skin about an arm's length of distance for the first few hours, and then it starts to come a little bit closer up to that 6-hour mark, but it's not gonna fill up an entire room and be loud and beast mode, so do not buy this one thinking that. But believe me, still gonna get compliments, still gonna get you a ton of attention, especially with people who are in their arm's length of distance. Oh yeah, guys, you're gonna be crowded with people complimenting your fragrance with Le Beau. At least if you're around the right people, of course. But it's gonna be a fragrance you're possibly gonna wanna overspray slightly, and do not be afraid to overspray your fragrances, guys. I've been telling you this for years. 3 to 5 sprays isn't really enough, guys, believe me. I know when I first started my fragrance journey, I was only spraying like 3, 5s max. And now I have 800 bottles, so of course I want to enjoy my fragrances and get a full body wearing from them, which is exactly what I do, especially with Le Beau. You're gonna have to. But that's gonna do it for my review of the hyped up Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau, guys. Let me know down below if you're a fan of this line, if you're a fan of Jean Paul Gaultier, because for some reason, for a designer house, they're one of the most hyped up designer houses, especially over on other platforms. And to be fair, Jean Paul Gaultier has never been a house I was so excited to get into. But this one is a pretty solid release, I'm not even gonna lie. But so yeah, let me know down below if you're a fan of Le Beau, or do you prefer the Le Parfum to it. So besides that though, leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, because what are you doing? I got you with daily fragrance content. Of course, I'm gonna catch all of you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.